folks, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Natasha and I do book things here. Today's video is my August wrap up. I do know that I was late on posting my July one and that I'm a little late posting my August one, but so I'm here today to talk to you guys about the 12 books that I read in the month of August. As usual, I give you guys my stats, my breakdown of what I read, and star ratings and all that stuff. I love doing this. Again, I always tell people, let me know in the comments if you don't like it. If you do, whatever. I'm going to keep doing it probably. Total, I read 12 books in the month of August. I did read 8 of them in the beginning of August for Booktubeathon. So, to be honest, I didn't read too much more the rest of the month, but anyway, I read 12 books, which is 3,408 pages, which equals out to about 109 pages a day. My star ratings go as follows. I had one 1-star book, 2 2-star books, 0 3-star books, 5 4-star books, and 4 5-star books. So a lot of good things, a lot of things that I did rate 5 that I really enjoyed, but then also no sort of like middle of the road books. It was either I really liked it or I really didn't. For an interesting month, my overall monthly rating was a 3.75, which is still pretty high, but again, like I kind of didn't have any average books. My genres, which I find really interesting, especially because I'm reading a little bit more than like horror and contemporary. So my genres go as follows. It's horror, graphic novel, contemporary, magical realism, a fantasy, hey, horror, humor, another fantasy, contemporary, and a paranormal. Like, if that doesn't sort of sum up my reading as odd, I don't really know what will. I kind of just read all over the place, all different things and whatever I'm really in the mood for. I did read from 7 male authors, 5 female, and there were 7 adult books and 5 YA books. The years were pretty standard. I try to read 3 new releases each month. This month I only read 2. My years are 2014, 13, 14, 16, 16, 17, 2018, and then a 1982. One 2007, one 2016, 2018, 2015. So the majority of my books are from the last 5 years, with the exception of a Stephen King and one that was a TBR Star Jar pick, basically. So that is my stats for the month. Definitely interesting. I think I had one of my first 1-star books this whole year, and then in this month I think I found possibly one of my favorite books of the year. So without making this video too long, I'm going to get into my lowest rating books first, moving into my 5-star rated books. So the book that I rated a 1 this month, no surprise, this was a TBR Star Jar pick. This is I Love You, Beth Cooper by Larry Doyle. This is classified as a humor book, although I did not find it funny. I thought this book was incredibly stupid. It follows a teenage boy who confesses his love for Beth Cooper at his graduation, and sort of follows the evening after graduation. This is written in 2007, and let me just tell you, I graduated high school in 2007, and there's a reason why I don't like thinking back to those times, because 2007 was just ew. There's a lot of just shitty language, like this, I don't know, to me this feels like a teenage boy's like wet dream kind of novel, like just writing what they wish they had as a teenage boy. I don't know, I just thought this was just shitty. There's really no redeeming qualities. Like, I finished it and went, that's a thing I did, you know, like looking back, like I think the only takeaway I got from this was the fact that I just do not want to ever go back to 2007, 2006, that sort of time period. It's just shitty. Like, to be honest, the only other thing that I really liked was at the beginning of the chapters, there's like he gets like beat up and whatever. It's just dumb. I gave it a 1. It was dumb. Do not recommend. Next are my 2 2-star books, both very different for different reasons. Probably see me review most of these in my Booktubeathon vlogs, but the one that I gave a 2 to was A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. I kind of had moderately high hopes for this. This is pitched as like a modern day female male switched, like Watson and Sherlock, which I like the idea of, but man, I did not care. Like, I was just reading this and I kind of read it like sort of kind of buddy reading with Chelsea. Not really though. I didn't care. Like, I didn't care about the murder mystery aspect of it. I didn't care about like the characters that much. Again, this is just one of those books that I read and went, okay, this is a book I read. I just feel like it really takes a lot more for me nowadays to like find something that I take something away from. This wasn't it. I know there's more books in the series. I like the covers. I think they're beautiful, and all that, but will I be continuing it? Probably not. So the other book that I gave it to is probably going to come as a surprise for some people, because I know a lot of people really like this book, and if you really like this book, I'm sorry, I don't like it that much. That is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. Is this book gorgeous? Absolutely. Did I buy it full price? Yes, I did. Was I kind of warned that I may not like it? Yes. A lot of people's critiques is that the first half of the book is really good and then the second half goes kind of woo crazy off the rails. I'm in that group that agrees with that. I really like the beginning of it when you're sort of setting up what the Hazelwood is, and in my mind I pictured this going a lot more witchy and a lot more like almost like Night Film, if you've read Night Film, like sort of Night Film, a Scream All Night kind of vibe, where the Hazelwood is more of like a place, like a place, coven-y kind of place. The direction that this ended up taking though, I was so confused. Listen, as somebody who doesn't read fantasy like nearly ever, I was so confused. I didn't care for what was going on. I, didn't really care for the sort of like fairy tale aspect of it, the parts that I did understand. And to be honest, I read this, in the last month, and I couldn't tell you the ending of this book to save my life. I've completely forgot the ending. So there's that. And then no 3-star books this month. So the next 5 are all 4 stars. So you're really gonna hop from book that I didn't care too much for into books that I really liked, basically. The first book that I read in August was Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, and this was a friggin' delight, okay? This is a horror novel set in a haunted, possessed, whatever, IKEA, and it's called an Orsk or whatever, but it's basically an IKEA. Honestly, how Grady Hendrix managed to like swing this without getting like sued by IKEA is beyond me. You're following a character who works at the store, kind of wants to leave the store and like move to another location, whatever, and she gets asked to stay at night because there's been sort of like hauntings in the IKEA, and they have like people coming in the morning to like the big rig people coming in. Listen, if you work retail, you gotta fucking read this. Those aspects are wonderful. But yeah, and then it kind of just goes from there. And like, listen, I've read a lot of horror. This book was genuinely scary in some parts, and like way more intense than I wanted it to be, or that I expected it to be. I expected it to be more humorous, and it ended up going very dark and twisted and really messed up. I very much enjoyed this. Actually really excited to pick up Grady Hendrix's My Best Friend's Exorcism, because now that I got sort of a feel for his writing style and that it's playful and kind of funny and humorous but also really dark, that's a lovely mix when in like the horror genre. I find you either get like super goofy campy humor or you get really dark, but this is like a wonderful mix of the two. The illustrations and everything in this are fantastic, just to kind of show, like, it really does look like an IKEA catalog, only all of these machines at the beginning of the chapters are like sort of torture devices and stuff. Really entertaining. So if you're looking for a very entertaining book with like a good amount of horror in it for the fall, I definitely suggest that. It's quite a blast. Like, it's really enjoyable to read. Second book I rated a 4 is Saga Volume 3. While I like the sort of family building and like the backstory whatever plot moving aspects. I just feel like the other two really like got my attention. So I'm just rating this one a 4. There's not too much I can say about this one without giving any spoilers for the previous books, so I'm not going to. All I can say is like the artwork amazing, the weird characters that they meet are just again amazing. If you guys haven't read Saga, highly suggest you do. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever read. Definitely in the graphic novel genre, the weirdest thing I've ever read, and I'm excited to keep reading them once I find them. Next 4-star book again was the movie to book adaptation, whatever, book to movie adaptation for Booktubeathon, and that was The Shawshank Redemption, which is a story in different seasons. So I didn't read all of different seasons, but I did read the first like chunk for that story. And, I liked it actually. I know Chelsea didn't care for it as much, but I really sort of like take into Stephen King's writing quite a bit, and I just like it. So I feel like, I don't know, I definitely have watched the movie before reading the book, and so I think that sort of influenced my view on the story, because I could really like picture certain characters and certain scenes. So yeah, I don't know, I just really liked it. For those of you who don't know what The Shawshank Redemption is about, I highly suggest the movie. The movie is one of my favorite movies. I just watched the movie, honestly. Next is a buddy read book that I read at the beginning of August that I honestly don't think I would have read had it not been for a buddy read. It's a book that I had wanted to get to eventually, but that little push sort of made me do it. That book is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, and I don't know what I was expecting. Honestly, I know that this is pitched as like a girl goes to assassin school, which is that, and I liked it. I liked it. I mean, I'm as shocked as you are that I liked it, to be honest, because again, this sort of fantasy, not really my genre, not something that I pick up often. The playfulness of this and like the sexy scenes and like the, I don't know, the language, I really enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed the fact that this felt like going to San Gimignano, like that's where we went, one of the places we went on our honeymoon. It feels like Rome, it feels like Italy, it feels like all those places, which Jay Kristoff sort of confirmed that it is roughly based on those places. So I really liked that part of it. The parts when it gets into like, I don't know, like going in and under these like weird fantasy element world things lost me, totally lost on me. One of the reasons why I gave it a 4, because there's definitely parts where I read it and I went, eh? Because I think if you read more fantasy, you're used to those elements maybe that I'm just not used to. So it takes me a little bit more effort to sort of suspend my disbelief and go, oh yeah, and that's a thing that occurs. Just because I do read so much contemporary where I can just bloop, kind of plot myself like in the story and relate. I can't really relate when they're doing crazy shit that I can't easily picture, I guess, in my mind. That's just my own sort of thing with reading fantasy. Like if I can't picture it, I'm lost. So yeah, I definitely did get a little lost at parts of this, but I did really enjoy it. I loved certain characters. The cat is everything to me. Will I continue with the second book? I don't know. See, like, I feel like this has the same sort of issue that Harry Potter had with me, where I read the first book and went, that was wonderful, thank you. And then I put it on the shelf, and I don't need to read 6 more books. I don't think I need to read the next 2. I can just kind of go, I'm done with that. Thank you. Right, and then the last 4-star book was a total surprise, another TBR star pick. Also a random book that I picked on Book Outlet, so it's very rare that like that happens. That is House Witch by Katie Schickel. This is a witch book, and this was really quite fun. Basically, this woman is a stay-at-home mom of 3. She sort of realizes that she has like witch abilities and witch powers, and there's all these women in her town that are part of this like kind of like Stepford Wives sort of club, and she realizes that there are also witches and how that ties in with her life and stuff like that. And sometimes they make soap and beauty products that influence everyone in the town. It is wonderful. It's friggin' wonderful. This was the witch book that I needed and really liked. It was also kind of playful and humorous in some parts. Again, not perfect. The writing wasn't perfect, so I gave it a 4. And then lastly, moving into the 4 5-star books of the month. The very first one is Saga Volume 2. I love the first one. This one obviously picks up where the second book left off. Just such fun characters, and again, learning more and more about people. This one is very like action-packed too. Like a lot of stuff happens and a lot of like cool things and new characters. I just loved it. It's a 5. Like the art, the storytelling, everything, the language. One of my favorite characters is introduced in this one, which is not PG. Anyway, basically I love it. And then lastly, my 3 5-star books, and I love it when this happens. They're all the same height and they're the same color. It's like my brain just was like, these are the books you're gonna like this month. The first one is This Adventure Ends by Emma Mills. One of the most beautiful books ever. Like outside, when you take the cover off, beautiful. The actual little like chapter markers are paint swirls. I love it so much. This book is all about friendship and art and just friend love. Oh, it was just lovely. Again, I can't explain it because I suck. I feel like this is just one of those simple, well-told contemporaries that just, it's like a feel-good contemporary, but there's some harder elements in there. Just a really good one if you love wonderful friendship group. I like the sort of scavenger hunt kind of aspect of one of the main plot lines in this book, where she's trying to get this painting back basically for her friends. I loved that, and I loved how that ended up coming to an end as well. Just so many things about this book just make it this just perfect little nugget of joy. The next 5-star book is the one that I sort of teased at the beginning of this video, that it might be one of my favorite books of the year. It's definitely one of the most odd books that I've read this year that is also a 5-star book. I loved this book so much, and I thought I would, and I did, and there's just nothing better than when you think you're gonna love something and you do. It's like, oh yes, like it's just a satisfying feeling. But that is Sourdough by Robin Sloan. I saw this weird little book and I knew I had to get it, and they said something about robotic sourdough, and I went, I'm fucking sold. This is kind of like a magical realism contemporary. It is wonderful. So basically it starts off in this world that's very similar to our world, almost contemporary world, where robotics are a little bit more advanced, and the main character works in robotics, and they're trying to find ways to like nourish people in almost like a more convenient way, like drinking Soylent. For those of you who don't know what Soylent is, it's basically like a meal in like a liquid kind of thing that you can live off of. And so it kind of sets up like that, and then she stumbles across a restaurant with these 2 men that are wonderful, and they leave her with this sourdough starter, and just the whimsicalness of this like sourdough, and her taking care of the sourdough and what it means, and the characters she meets along the way is just like, this book is like this book is like my book, man. Like, this might just be the book that I suggest to people if you want like a weird little fun book, just because I've never read anything quite like it. I doubt that I will after, you know, like it's just one of those books that it is its little thing. I know that Emily at Possibly Lit has some issues with it. I don't see my issues. I like it. I was watching her video and was like, how dare you not like sourdough? No, I'm just kidding. I definitely see the points that she brings, but to me, I listened to it on audio and I was fully just in this world of this book, and the audiobook is wonderful. Do highly suggest the audiobook. This is just, I don't know, I just really like this. And the last 5-star book of the month is one that I really hoped that I was gonna like, and I did, which is like, again, just the best feeling ever. That is Your Destination Is on the Left by Lauren Spieler. This book is pretty cool and I liked it. Follows a girl whose family lives in an RV and like they're traveling and like moving from one place to another, yet she wants to go to art school, yet she's been declined. That touches me personally because I applied to art school and didn't have the money to go at first, and then finally did go, but I definitely get that. I love everything about RV van life, like on the run, not on the run, on the go culture, so I like that a lot. Yeah, I don't know, this book was just, it ticked all the elements that I liked. It was just like fun sort of adventure vibes, yep, art, yep, fun characters, yep, like sort of family issues that like again felt personal to me. I like that too. This is one that I've heard not too many people talk about, but I loved it and I think more people should read it. So if you like sort of all of those elements that I mentioned, then you will like this. It was great and I gave it a 5. I am going to attempt yeah, there we go. Those are all the books that I read in the month of August. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, what your rating are for any of them. Will you be reading any of them? All that stuff. Leave me any comments down below. I'll be sure to read them and check them out. I hope everyone is doing good, and until my next video, I'll talk to all of you soon. Bye!